Greetings to you wherever you are. I hope this live meet you in a healthy state of mind, a state of mind that is ready to receive. Okay, today we wanna have a lively discussion, and I promise you that I won't be too long because I think it was Thursday. I would have done some dental work. Okay, so I wouldn't be going too long, maybe 20 to 30 minutes discourse, and then I go through the the comments, okay, and see what you have to say. Okay, so I've seen that you are hearing me clearly and you see me perfectly, so I will just go into what I want to speak to you about. Okay, you know, I grew up in an island that was colonized. As a matter of fact, it was taken over by the British many years ago. And they set up a structure or a system to keep the people a certain way. But of course, growing up, I didn't know that. Growing up, I didn't realize that. And so being faced with poverty, meeting the rest of my family in poverty, I didn't quite understand that it all had to do basically with their mentality. And in my grandmother's home, there was a picture of a man that my grandmother, referred to as the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the one who would save us and forgive us of our sins. So that was one of the earliest thing that I was told as a child growing up. And then later on, I was told that if I want to break out of the cause of poverty and I want to live a life of abundance and a life of prosperity, that I was to go to school and do good in school, get good grades, and being a well educated and rounded person in society, it would open many doors and opportunities for me. That's what I was told. And when I look around, I've seen everyone was going that way. Everyone was saying the same thing. Everyone was doing the same thing. And all the neighbors and the people in the community, those who are rich, those who are poor, those who are middle class, they all send their children to school and they all say that you have to work hard and you have to attain education to get rid of poverty out of your life. And so when we enter the school system, even the teachers were saying that same thing. If you're going to achieve anything in life, if you're going to have anything in life, you must be educated. But at that time, as a little child and entering the school system, we were not aware at that time that these men and women who call themselves teachers, they were not millionaires. They were not multi-millionaires. They were not rich. And they were not really successful. But they give us the idea as if they were successful. Okay? And so, my brother and my sisters, as I continue to seek to know who I am and why I am here, and to know the cause of the haves and the have not. The more I seek to know the cause of poverty, the more I seek to know why people, especially people who look like me, why they always was so trapped in poverty. And when I really experience the power of my mind by having an awakening experience, that is what helped me to realize that there is a system in your body that wants to align you with abundance and prosperity. There's a system in your body that will teach you that your real identity is actually your divinity. And when you activate that system and you're in alignment with that system, your life will replicate that of nature that brings forth bountifully. And that is how meditation comes into the equation. Because in order to align yourself to draw out from that which is within, which true education is to really draw out from that which is within. It's only through meditation that you will realize that you are miseducated. And there's a book that's been written called The Miseducation of the Negro, 1933, I think by Charles G. Woodson. Okay. And so, without you having a real awakening experience and understanding how the mind works, and understand how you have to align your anatomy, your physiology, and your biology with your psychology through having a meditative mentality with the understanding of how meditation works, with the understanding of your breathing, your inhalation and your exhalation, and understanding your different energy centers, understanding how to open up your energy centers, and understand how to even close your energy centers. I can close and open my energy centers just by shifting my body in certain different position, certain parts of my body. Okay. And so that's how I come to realize that I've been miseducated. And that experience is what would have allowed me to put this book together called Meditate to Eradicate Poverty. This was the first book that I would have ever written and have it published on Amazon. Okay, Meditate to Eradicate Poverty. And I've been practicing meditation from since I would have had my awakening experience. And everything changed in my life for the better just by practicing meditation. While the people in my community and society continue to chase after academic education, which basically puts them in a place of limitation. But when you find your limitless self and you realize that you're not limited, but instead you are limitless. When you realize that you are a vibratory being, you operate on frequency. When you understand your true essence as energy, and you align that energy to transmute your desires into reality, and it become a hard and objective fact. It become evidence to you, then you're definitely a witness that education, as in academic education, is second class to meditation. And just to simplify it a little bit for you, you come to the realization that the book, that it was first a thought, it was first an idea, it was first imagined. The building that was constructed, that they refer to as school, it was first a thought, it was first an idea, and it was first imagined. Okay, you'd realize that the university that would encourage you to go and borrow money from the bank to pay for your tuition, you'd realize the university, it was first a thought, it was first an idea, it was first imagined. The lecturers, the professors, the dean, you name it, all the people involved with the university, everything they will ever say to you, it had to first be a thought, it had to first be an idea, it had to be imagined. The bench, the chair, the desk, everything in the university, it comes from the mind. So, my brother and my sisters, there has been an ongoing war on this planet for your mind, so that you'll be easily governed and controlled by a system that wants to keep you limited. But when you learn the power of your mind and you practice daily meditation and you do it with the understanding and the feeling and the knowing that you are a spirit having a human experience. When you do meditation with that understanding, it empowers you, because that understanding gives you a certain feeling, and because of that certain feeling, you can be able to impress your subconscious mind, because that understanding and clarification that give you this certain feeling, that is all the subconscious mind will be able to read, because the subconscious mind doesn't know any other conversation. The subconscious mind is not partial. The subconscious mind doesn't know right or wrong. The subconscious mind doesn't know a lie from a truth. And so they make you believe that a lie is separated from the truth and the truth is separated from the lie. They make you think that good is separated from evil and evil is separated from good. They make you believe that you are separated from the creator and the creator is separated from you. And so you live your life searching for a creator when you are actually the creator who can create your every desire. But the only way you would discover what I am speaking about is if you practice meditation. You practice to calm down the monkey mind, the chattering mind. And for you to do that, you have to find time to be isolated. And the system is set up in a way to keep you real busy. So you do not find the time to be in isolation. So you don't find the time to meditate and to grow and to think. And so most people get trapped going after the getting instead of seeking the being. So most people, instead of they seeking to know who they are, they're seeking for things, materialistic things in this world to give them a sense of satisfaction and give them a sense of belonging. And that is why a man can acquire $1 billion and still end up putting a gun to his head. But when you find yourself, your true self, you would realize how simple it is for you to go into meditation, visualization, mindful breathing, and even scripting. Because when you use your fingers and you use your hands and you write, you're creating a sort of feeling. It is a more telepathic and psychic way of communication, because you come into this world with your psychic ability. You come in with your clairvoyance ability. You come in with your telepathic ability. Okay. And so they separate spirituality from science and technology. So you live in a world whereby you believe that these people study neuroscience, and people who call themselves scientists and inventors, and you see them as being special and different from you. And so you doubt yourself and you live your life in self-doubt. Okay. And most of the time, when people live in their life in self-doubt, it is because they will have put their hope and their trust in going to school, get good grades, and then when they catch themselves, the school system will have failed them. And many a times they cannot deal with it. And so some men, they turn to alcohol, some turn to drugs, and they do a lot of different things. Some turn to crime. Okay. Because for example, when you grow up in a place like the Caribbean, okay, and you realize the rhetoric in the Caribbean is about academic education. You for example, anyone who's familiar with the island of Jamaica, they claim to have so much university and educated people, but there's so much of them who are leaving their country to go to America, believing that America is the land of opportunity. And they always have to live their life wondering when they're going to be sent back to Jamaica, because the rate of the criminal rate, the crime rate there is very high. And that is because the system, the school system, have been failing the youths. Barbados is another place in the Caribbean that most people believe that is not, are no longer under the slave system, but it's even more deeper into the slave system. And most of the businesses and the things that own that the people that is owned there is not by the people who live there. Okay, people from England and all of these other places that own all of these things there. And this is where they set up the CXC, which is Caribbean Examination Council. So this whole examination council and the different bodies they built to run an educational system, it is a system that built to keep you from getting in alignment with the part of you that is very reproductive, the part of you that is creative, the part of you that is innovative. And that part of you that is innovative and creative, you will never be able to activate that part of you without spending time with yourself. That is why it's very important that you know what you say to yourself when you're with yourself. It is very important that you can learn to calm your mind down and learn to breathe the right way and understand that you've been brainwashed and doctrinated to live a life in scarcity and lack. You've been indoctrinated to think that you're living in a dog eat dog world where there is lack and scarcity. And so you become so busy that you fail to look around and look at nature and let nature be your teacher. For example, people in the Caribbean, how many people would walk on the beach and be inspired just by walking on the beach? You would realize no one could count the sand and the seashore. You would realize that the sea, it has no beginning and it has no end, and the sea never run out of fishes. It doesn't matter how much people live on this planet. The sea never goes scarce with fishes. Okay? And all of that is to teach you that there's no lack and scarcity when you are in alignment with your higher self, who you are. So, my brother, my sisters, in short, I'm saying to you that the academic educational system is second class to your nervous system, which is the system you must use to educate you about you, educate you about your innovative, creative self, your magical self, the self of you that is limitless. Thus, the reason why through the religious and political bodies, they try to discourage you from practicing meditation. So they tell you if you go and you meditate, you're opening up yourself for demons and you'll be demon possessed. But they never tell you that demons are disembodied spirits that are here, and they normally open certain portals to get certain inspiration from them to rule over you. They wouldn't tell you that. They wouldn't tell you about the archons. They wouldn't tell you about the demiurge. And most people on this planet are worshipping the demiurge. They're worshipping a false god looking outside of themselves. So in short, if you grew up in the Caribbean or you grew up in some country that have been colonized, I am telling you, it's not easy for you to break the bonds of mental slavery, because the educational system has been built to brainwash you. And when your parents already been brainwashed and your parents already been conformed, your parents gonna send you to school with that expectation. But like, for example, on the other hand, I have to provide you some solution. So let me give you some solution. Okay, if you are a parent and you're listening to me and you cannot homeschool your child, this is my advice to you. When you send your child to school, do not send your child to school with the expectation of them to be the brightest person where academic education is concerned. In other words, I'm saying do not force them or pressure them in that path of academic education. Don't try to make them an academia. But instead, be observant to know what is their talent. See what they love. See what they do in school that is quite easy and enjoyable for them. And most of the time, their life path is in that area or that angle. So most people are sending their children to school not knowing the reason why they're sending them to school. Just like most people are going to work and they do not know the reason why they are going to work. They just the follower following the follower. Okay? And if you was to ask most people what is the secret to success, most people wouldn't know the secret to success. Okay? I'm saying to you, when you realize that we become what we think about most of the time, And when you realize that thoughts become things, and you realize a thought takes place in a place of silence. Because if I have a thought and I do not speak, that thought is not being expressed. If I do not take action, that thought isn't being expressed. So every word is the expression of a thought, and every action is an expression of a thought. And you were raised to read from a book and believe that it is a holy book. You were never taught that it is psychological. You were never taught that it is esoteric, because you were taught the exoteric. You were taught to look on the outside. So all wealth come from within. All abundance come from within. All currency comes from within. That is why you have to practice meditation. And that's why I would recommend my book time and time again. Get this book, Meditate to Eradicate Poverty, and start your daily meditation. You see, when you meditate, don't look for any phenomena. When you meditate, you would realize there's certain things that are just happening effortlessly. For example, when you start to meditate and you're driving in traffic and you meet someone with road rage, you're going to deal with them a certain way. When you go to a certain workplace and you have to meet certain people, you find you can deal with them a certain way just because you're meditating. When you meditate, you find you start to get a shift in the way you see things. You start to see things from a different angle. You will find that you're saying to yourself, how is it that I wasn't seeing things this way, but now I'm seeing it this way? When you start to meditate, more things will be open to you that you never thought about before. And then you start to see the world from a different angle. Then you start to understand the system that I'm speaking about, like the school system. And not from an information standpoint. You see, we're in an information age whereby they're enslaving you with information, because they keep you on a fake or false form of knowing, which is intellectual knowing. And that is why there people will come on right now and listen to me, and they will just click off and say, I know what he's speaking about, when they do not know, because they never had any experience. And these are people who still continue going to the same job that they don't love. These same people continue to live an unhappy life. These are the same people who would say, I already know that. That ain't new to me. And they're looking for something new when there's nothing new under the sun. And so they fail to realize the power of simplicity. That is why most people will never accept that their real identity is their divinity, because they're refusing to look inwardly. They rather look outwardly. So they rather listen to politicians. So one will say, okay, I'm a Democrat. One will say, I'm a Republican. One will say, I'm conservative. Okay. And they will always play the blaming game and the victim game. Okay. And they would believe that the system provide a way to escape poverty for them. But the system never provide any way for you to escape poverty. That is why when you have self-realized and self-actualized people like myself, we are showing you that you are out of alignment with the rest of nature. Because when you look at nature, you see nature is bringing forth bountifully. When you look at the tree is bringing forth in abundance. When the rain falls, it falls in abundance. When the sun shines, it shines in abundance. So all abundance is within you. But of course, you have to understand your spirituality. What do I mean by that? You have to know that you're a spirit and you're just having a human experience. So you won't be afraid to meditate. You wouldn't be afraid to vibrate. You wouldn't be afraid to hear certain songs in your head. You wouldn't be afraid to navigate a certain light in your forehead. You wouldn't be afraid of having out-of-body experiences without you taking any psychedelic. You wouldn't be afraid of what the preacher have to say. You wouldn't be afraid of what the politician have to say, because they are running a system that is based on fair. But meditation will teach you that there's a system of love, and that system of love is in you. That's why you have to learn to govern your mind. So everything I'm saying here, I am saying to you, if you govern your mind, you govern your finances. Let me run that again. If you govern your mind, you'll be able to govern your finances. If you govern your mind, you wouldn't listen to an orator such as a preacher to instruct you on how to live. You wouldn't listen to a politician to instruct you how you are to live. But instead, you would listen to your intuition. That's why it's only your intuition could keep you here on this live listening to me. It's only your intuition can drive you to comment and participate in this conversation. It is your intuition that will tell you to share this information. It is your intuition will tell you how to practice meditation daily. It is your intuition that will tell you start to practice affirmation and start to practice visualization with the understanding of your nervous system and how it really works, with the understanding of the pineal gland, and not based on information. As I come to a close here, because I'm just gonna read the comments and I'm gonna close, because as I said earlier, that I did some dental work on Thursday, so I won't be speaking for too long, okay? Because I'm still going through some healing, okay, from the dentist. So um as I was saying, uh, everything is actually a reflection of your mind. How much you're earning, and what is the income, okay, is a reflection of your mind. Where you live is a reflection of your mind. Everything that's happening around you is a reflection of your mind. So if you cultivate the right mind, you get the desired outcome that you so long for. So, my brother, my sisters, in short, I'm saying that most melanated people have been miseducated. And you need to try meditation to realize that meditation is greater than academic education. To realize that the book was first a thought, it was first an idea, it was first imagine school and all of these things. They are second class, okay, to your mind. So all is actually mind. So like in the Caribbean, the older folks, they say common sense was before book. Well, in this book of minds, in this book, Meditate to Eradicate Poverty, okay, there is a chapter on common sense. And the chapter on common sense is where I teach you that that sense is your God sense. Okay. And that is what connect your whole nervous system. That's what your whole nervous system is all about. Okay. And if I was to go even much more deeper into the things that I'm saying based on my experience, I would go as far to say to you, that's when you would definitely discover the Savior that is in you, the Redeemer that is in you. You would discover the empty tomb. Yeah, you would definitely awake. But don't force the awakening. There's many information on the internet and all of them are misleading. And I could listen to all of these people giving you all of this information and the pineal gland and give you all this information and awakening. I know they have never had any experience. I know. I just know. You see, when this intelligence activates within you, every work that has been done, okay, you understand it. It's like your IQ gone to another level. There's so much people all around the world like to talk about Carl Jung, okay? And, it always amazed me that all of the great men, all of the men of science and technology and all of the men who are mystics and all of these things. They would talk about Hitak Bentaf. They would talk about Michael Talbot. They would talk about um Jokobo. I can't remember the second name. Okay. They will talk about all of these things. They will talk about Castaneda. They will talk about all of these things. You know, they don't talk about anybody who look like me. You know, they talk about nobody melanated who would have awakened and who self-realize and self-actualize and make me laugh. I be laughing. Okay. And, you know, the funny thing is that, you know, our melanated people have been taught so much not to trust their own people and to believe in their own people that when a national treasure is right before them, they can't see. Bro, I'm telling you, if there is three enlightened persons on the internet doing videos, I'm one of them. If it's two, I'm one of them. And if there's one, I'm one. That's why I didn't take no bribery. That's why when I started YouTube, not knowing what could be earned or gained from YouTube, financially speaking, and when they reach out to me from the organization and the cabal, those of the Epstein class, I call them the Epstein class, and they wanted me to be part of their cabal and to sell myself short for money. Okay, I refuse. I basically like give them the middle finger, just for you to understand what I'm saying. Okay, and 3 times they reach out to me, and because they have influence on social media and they're running social media and they're controlling the narrative and so on, you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna shadow ban, they're gonna do all these kind of things. But what? I remain doing what I am doing because I know what I experience and nobody can change that. Okay. So don't be an educated fool on this planet where academic education is concerned. Okay. I know the power of meditation. I know the power of visualization. I know the power of alignment. I know the power of you being connected to nature. I know the power of you practicing a lot of isolation. I know how important it is. So no one could fool me. Okay. So my brother, my sisters, I'm just gonna read the comments. Okay, because as I said, I'm not gonna be too long. Okay, because you know, this kind of dental work that I would have done, you know, I can't be doing too much talking, but I'm gonna go on another live and do another 30 minutes discourse with you. Someone says, my friend, after having to smoke, my friend, after having to smoke of ganja, who I don't know who he's speaking about of smoking ganja. If he's speaking about himself, I speaking about me. Okay, I don't need to smoke ganja or anything to be on a high. Okay, I'm very much high on life. And if any person chooses to smoke ganja, nothing is wrong with that. It has DMT in it. Okay, and many people travel all over the world. They go all in the Amazon jungle and so on and pay money to get a drink of ayahuasca to get an experience. So this is not a ganja thing, okay? And I'm not a Rastafarian, whoever, you know, whatever identity people normally put on you when they look at you outwardly and, you know, they try to judge you. Okay, but nothing wrong with anyone who wants to smoke weed. Okay, but I'm saying to you that I'm high on life. Okay, so aspirant, I'm high on life, bro. So I don't know if it's you who smoke your ganja, and if you smoke your ganja and you're feeling high from off your ganja and it's helping you in any way, I'm not gonna discourage you. Okay. I always teach people that there's no one to change on this planet but self. You work on yourself. That's the most important thing. Someone said the masses aren't ready for these messages. Okay. Even though most people are not ready for these messages, you have to make sure that you create your legacy and you leave your legacy here. You see, when your IQ go to another level and you have a real shift and you experience your true divinity. Sometimes you can be 100 years ahead of others. You can be 200 years of others. Okay, that's why people in my country they say, "Oh, he's stupid, he's crazy, he lost his mind." Yet I never stopped doing what I am doing. Okay, and I never fail to expand and grow and prosper in life more than I ever grow, expand, and prosper before. Okay, when you can be on YouTube or social media, knowing that they're trying to um I'm looking for the right word. It's like they want to shut you down or want to keep you quiet. Okay, they want to censor you. Okay, and they want to do all of that. They want to shadow ban you. Okay, yet you're persistent because you know you have a message and you want to bring that message to people. Okay, you're gonna do this whether or not you go viral or you don't go viral because you're not motivated by money. You're not motivated by none of these things. And that's what make me more happy. And it tell me that I have something. Okay, there's so much teachers on the internet. And it's all for what? A dime. All for the penny. They will say anything for a penny. They'll do anything for a penny. But when you being a real person and you stand in integrity and you speak the truth, you feel free. That's why I feel so happy. I feel like the richest man on this planet. Okay. So YouTube, thank you for making my day. Those of you who working at YouTube and think, oh, you can hinder me, you can't hinder me, you can stop me. Okay. Because money is not my motivation. Money is not what motivates me. Okay, what motivates me is the experience of me experiencing myself as pure consciousness. Me experiencing myself as nothingness, which cannot be understood by me just speaking to you. It must be experienced. I am telling you, the only knowing there is experience. And there's an experience that you will experience on this planet. And when you have that experience, you cannot be controlled. When you have that experience, you know all things. And what do I mean by that? Whatever knowledge come your way, it would only bring confirmation to that experience. You wouldn't be a person trained in neuroscience, but when you hear someone speak, it would just basically give you an aha moment. When you hear someone speak from the scientific field, you can align with it. When it doesn't matter where in the world there is someone speaking, and whether they're speaking on the esoteric, are they speaking on the metaphysics, are they speaking about not the Gnostics, are they speaking about the Paloma and all of these different terms and so on, you are still in connection and in understanding based on one experience. It's an ultimate experience. It is so ultimate. And they make sure they put it on the US dollar, the eye above the pyramid. And ignorant people say, oh, that's the all-seeing eye of the devil, all-seeing eye Lucifer. Hey, man, people got to wake up. Okay. Someone say, um, all is mind. Okay. Which is true. Everything is mental and everything is psychological. And these are things they feed you with the internet. Have you experienced that all is mind? If you really experience that all is mind, then you wouldn't be distracted by the wars that are going on. You wouldn't be distracted by um inflation. You wouldn't be distracted by depression. It doesn't matter what come your way. Okay. Someone say I have the experience at night time and then came across your channel 1 month later. That is so good. Okay, because you see, if what I'm saying is true, I must be vindicated. I must be authenticated. Okay, and so when other people would have had similar experience and they've been led to my work without YouTube sending them without they find it on YouTube feed or anything like that, and YouTube not even putting out your work because we are telepathic, because we are psychic beings, because we are clairvoyant beings. because there's an intelligence in us that is all knowing, all powerful, okay, and omnipresent because that intelligence is there. When the deep calls to the deep will connect. So there are people all around the world will find my work, even though they hide it or shadow ban it. So it doesn't matter what they do. Once the work is on the internet, doesn't matter how it's being hidden, they will find it. Okay. So thanks for the comment. Okay. Someone said I came outside my body and I was one with the wind. That's something I've been sharing all the time, talking about being one with the wind. Okay. But it's far much more than that. Okay. And so with all of the information on the internet, anybody, I'm not doubting you, okay, is reading. But anybody can come up and they can say anything now because that's how they weaponize the internet with information. So sometimes people could give you one part and say one thing, but I can give you from the start to the end. Okay, I could give you this from the start to the end. And I could take anyone and teach them certain things that would change their life completely. I'm telling you. I could teach someone the real way how to meditate and how to really align their body. Okay. And all these things that I come to know, no one taught me. No one. People, sometimes people they go and they join secret society, they go all of these different things and they come and they pretend. You understand? And all of these different things. So it's like you do not know who to trust out here on the internet. So that's why I always say to people, if what I'm saying, if it resonates with you, if it doesn't resonate with you, you could just move on. It's just who you resonate with. So even if you resonate with one person and that person really believe what I'm saying, and that person have discernment to know, yo, this man is real. That is all I need. Okay? Because anybody could come on and say anything. Someone say, hey, yeah, I tuned my frequency to unconditional love with my left hand on my heart while my right hand is in my lap. I see the truth only while sitting with unconditional love. You see, unconditional love and love is not what people say. It's not something you receive. Okay. It is something you give because it's something you discover. Okay. And all of these different things that people on the internet will tell you to do and so on. Okay. Why is it that they have all different formula? They come up with all different formula. And this is how it becomes very dangerous. You see, when you're going after it and you're seeking for it, that's where most people get the hang-ups. And that's where most people get trapped in delusion. Okay. You see, I didn't know anything about self, being self-aware. I didn't know anything about self-realization. I didn't know anything about spirituality. I didn't know anything about the Nakanami library and all of that. And I didn't know anything about the Gnostics. I didn't know anything about the esoteric. I didn't know anything uh, um, about secret society. I didn't know anything about. Let me see what else, I'm trying to remember. I didn't know anything about neuroscience. Um, I didn't know anything about Sophia. But that was the Gnostics too, right? I didn't know none of these things. Okay. And when I had the experience, I didn't know what the experience was about. I remember I was sleeping next to a woman, and when I wake up in the morning, I was asking her about the great earthquake if she felt the earthquake last night. He was asking what kind of earthquake. You understand? So when people say they have out of body experience and this and that, my body out of body experience is a different thing. You understand that what most people talk about astral, but this is not no astral projection thing, bro. I get both from my skull and many and After a certain amount of cycles, my son appeared to me, called me father. I know exactly who I am. It doesn't matter when people talk about ancient Egypt, this, that, man. Look, this experience just cement everything. This experience just cement everything. That's how I am so convinced that the people who hang on to academic education in the Caribbean, in Africa, and all of these places, which I'm not saying you mustn't go to school and get education and go to university, but I'm telling you, when you understand the power of the mind, when you understand meditation, when you understand alignment, when you understand nature, when you understand your oneness with nature and so on, when you understand it from an experience that they don't want you to really have, and you have that experience, I listen to someone who have that experience, start to practice. I am telling you, you will realize why on this planet you have men who are millionaires and multi-millionaires, and they farm their club and they try to keep in a club. And if you do not join the club, they want to shut you out. They want to pressure you. They want to censor you. Yeah, you will understand all of these things. So that's why my brother, my sister, I'm encouraging you to meditate and get my book, Meditate to Eradicate Poverty, and read it to just to remind you. Okay. Someone say, I think the mind reflects where you live. At least there is evidence for that. Yeah, the mind reflects everything. It's like a mirror. And people say, oh, they have evidence and so on. They talk about neuroscience. They talk about this place, I forgot the name that Joe Dispenza normally talk about. Where they talk about heart and brain coherence and thing. They normally talk about I forgot the name of the institute that they set up. Now, a lot of these men and women, they set up institute, they set up different things and so on. Okay. But it's this simple science. And that is why I've been teaching for years the inner sun science and technology to create your reality consciously. Okay. So, because most of the time, they might be two steps ahead of you as a melanated person being so brainwashed for so long. Okay. And that generational causes and new. They use sophisticated ways and means, okay, to explain these things for you. But very simple, okay? And you do not really need to take any psychedelic or anything to get this kind of experience. And you don't need to force it either, okay? The Heart Math Institute is what I was trying to remember. The Heart Math Institute. That's why when I done this live, I'm going on another live where I'll be talking about the backbone. Okay, I talk about the base of the spine and so on, right up to the crown of the head and so on. Okay, let me read another comment here. So when people say that evidence, the only evidence there is your experience, bro. Don't make nobody fool you. They have machine and all this thing they could hook you up to and so on. Okay, that's just to basically give you information to convince you. And when you convince you ain't gonna get the experience so easy. It's better when you have experience about things you don't know, you didn't know, and then you realize what you really find. Yeah, it's like you find a treasure and you instead of realize where you find that when it become that's when it become real sweet. Someone say you sound like a Zoroastrian from what you are saying. So this person is talking about Zoroastrianism, which I don't even know about, but I would have heard about Zoroastrianism and so on. I've heard people in the Middle East and so on who practice Zoroastrian, Zoroastrianism and so on. And they have all of these different terminology. So one man might say I sound like a Christian, another man might say I sound like a Muslim, another man might say I sound like a Rasta, another man might say I sound like I say like Allah because why? Because where I am speaking from, you understand, is based on my own experience. I remember people reach out to me and say, I know you read this book and you read that book. And that's how I end up getting the Kybalion. Most people reaching out to me and say, man, I know you read the Kybalion and so on, which I've never had. And since I bought the Kybalion, I have it home, I've never really read it, to be honest with you. Okay, and all of these things just give confirmation. So my brother, my sister, I'm telling you, meditation is the key. Meditation is the medication for your psychology, for your anatomy and your physiology, for your biology, for all of you, meditation. That's why you need to come out, get the sunlight, take your shoes off, get connected, get grounded, and practice meditation, practice visualization. Someone say, I'm spreading the message from London. Don't worry. I really appreciate it because, I need to get the algorithm going, okay, in spite of what they have done. And before I come to a close here, when one of the thing that really trigger them and get them angry with me is when I start to really expose Neville Goddard, okay, and his secret brotherhood, okay. And I'm not gonna back down from saying I'm speaking the truth because Neville Goddard was 100% Rosicrucian, you understand? And they do like when you talk these things, and a lot of people can't handle the truth. So when I started to expose Neville Goddard and started to talk about Neville Goddard family having the biggest business in my country, and how there's a family that did own plantation. When you start to understand the people who used to own plantation, you understand, and you start to understand the war that going on right now, and you start to understand the Mossad, and you start to understand these so-called Jews, and you start to understand why people say, oh, anti-Semitic and all that. So I think someone make some comment like that to me and so on. You start to understand in these countries in the Caribbean, they say, oh, you're a colony of Britain, you're a colony of Spain, you're a colony of this. No, it's not really true, The real brain is these Semitic these kind of people. Okay, these kind of people, they believe that they're special. If you really want to understand what I'm talking about, check out Hitler and Hitler ideology. Hitler ideology was their ideology too. But Hitler wanted was to beat them to it. Because Hitler knew what was their agenda. I know I'm telling you. So everything you see Hitler do, that's what they want to achieve. But they're doing it in a different way. That's why they paint a certain picture about Hitler. And you never get the real truth about Hitler. Who you think doing all of the sanction? Yet people reading a book that tell them that the beast, no man who can sell or buy. Who does want to determine who sell or buy? I can see the system right in front of me and people can't see it. And they teach people to go around saying, oh, this Israel is blessed of God and Israel is God chosen people and all this thing. Come on, you brainwash. Most many of the people brainwash. And they call themselves man of God and no man of God. And God fearing. All those things are brainwash. I never heard one say I'm a God loving man. They say God fearing. It's brainwash. So all of these things have to do with your poverty and your lack, your scarcity, and you being at the bottom of the barrel, and they could enslave you anytime they want. And as what they said to me, they say what one nigger in do, another one will do. So what I refuse, another man will gladly embrace that. For example, a man like Anton Daniels, if you know Anton, he with back chaser, he sell. If he didn't know what I know, he don't sell out to everybody. That piece of shit that he is. And there's many YouTubers, melanated YouTubers that could call out. They sell out. I know they sell out. That's why their views could go out there and all of that. And they say they're talking spirituality and they're only hitting the surface. They have no experience at all. But they set them up. They set them up for, paper, money, for get some money. If they stick with the narrative, I'm sticking with the narrative. Okay? Someone say, yeah, so the person who say they're sharing it in London, continue to share it and encourage people to subscribe. If right now, if you go to my, what you call it, my analytics, and you check and you also see, when you come to my subscribers, it's negative. They are at negative 15 in 28 days, negative 12 in 28 days, negative this in 28 days. Less than 100 subscribers. Less than 50 subscribers I get. Okay, because and they're taking my content and using my content. Okay. And that is my property. That is my intellectual property. And they're doing wrong to me. YouTube is doing wrong to me. I know that they're doing wrong to me. That's my intellectual property and they're using it. And they're blocking all of these things. And blocking my views. But there are lawyers out there that can help. But when you don't want to seek that system, because you know that there's a different law system, okay, and the judiciary law system is built off of the real system, you don't know yourself. Because they're only doing it to themselves. The person push the button to do this, to do that. You only do it to yourself. I remember they reach out to me and tell me, this is not a troll. And they was highly upset about me speaking about Neville rather than me speaking about AI too. They were highly upset. But I don't give a damn. Okay? Someone say, yes, it's the truth. He's speaking. Of course, I'm always speaking the truth. I have no reason to lie. A man who refused going viral on YouTube because he doesn't want anyone to control him. And people want to control the narrative and what you say from what you don't say and so on. Though they didn't tell me that, but I know that what was coming. These people come to me so nice and everything. Just they ain't tell me. They just say we are such and such and such and such, and we like people like you, and we are people like you, and so on. Blah blah blah. We make sure you have you be financially well and so on, and make sure you go out, your view, you go out there to the public, your message and everything and what you're teaching and so on and all of that. But I know that gifts does blind you. I know that is a trap. I know once they start to do that, then they could dictate what I say and tell me not to say this. They could cut my views and so on and all of that. I think yeah, this guy, I think there's a popular guy named Juxi. I think it's Juxi is his name. Since he do this thing on Erica Cork, like he getting less views. Like when people see videos that could get 20 million and then he getting 8 million for something, people could know. Anybody with common sense could know they start to do something when he start to do something. When he did that act with these preachers and so on, who always asking for donations and all this shit, they start to cut down your views. Because he started to troll preachers, he started to troll Erica Cork and all of that. Yeah, they're gonna start. That's how they move in. I want to say hi. Hi to you. Keep spreading the word, and I'm with you, boss. Thank you very much. Okay, I appreciate your energy, and I appreciate you being with me. Okay, bring the energy from your eyes inward, and together sit with the connected energy and wait with it in silence. Once the heart opens, that energy is Christ. It is our Savior. Yeah, that's true to an extent, okay? But there's an ultimate experience that you must have because you can't be Christ and you do not experience the empty tomb. Okay? You see, Christ consciousness is an experience. So when you speak of a man 2,000 years ago, and you believe that there was a man 2,000 years ago, okay, they're chopping you from knowing that this experience is yours and there's nothing you need to do to get the experience. It's not I'm gonna practice this and then I'm gonna get the experience. No, it's not like that. That's what I tell you. The whole world is facing a flood. www.com is a flood. Information, a flood of information. That's how they keep you. That's how they keep you dumb. That's how they keep you controlled. The information. We live in an information age. The information is a weapon. That's what most people don't know is the information a weapon. Our teachers and from now till the day I leave this planet, information. This information is a way is an age where they're using the information as a weapon. They play with your ego. They keep you fast, knowing you won't have no experience. The amount of people who reach out to me many years since I started YouTube and tell me, oh, I want to have the same experience like you. I want to become enlightened. I want to experience the third eye. I want to experience this one. And I had the experience and didn't know what it was about. It's the experience sent me to the internet and start to search and listen to people. Then I find Bobby Hemmett. And because at the time, because I was reading Christianity when Bobby Emmett using certain words. You know what I mean? That people say is coarse word and dirty words. It used to kind of throw me off, but now I use them more than even more than Bobby Emmett and Panic and all of them. So those are the kind of people first I used to hear them speak. He said everything the man saying is confirmation. That's all listen all different people. Then they had when then these people come out with the secret. I know those checking the people and talking about Randa Bones and them and talking about the secret and all of them things. I knew they was hiding something from the people. Then I started to put two and two together and start to realize, yo, this is how these people really have black people using the Bible to keep down black people and keep black people under curse, keep them under spell. This is how they've been having them under generational curse all the time. And then I keep expanding and expanding in wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, not knowing that my IQ had gone to another level. And then when the IQ go to another level, people see you, they're gonna say, "Oh, you're crazy." They think you lost your mind. That's why I know who actually enslaving the people on this planet. Look at the war that's taking place, and you know who enslaving the people and been behind the whole thing of this time. Because there was a time when there was the Arab slave trade too. Okay, the Sahara slave trade is to put millions of people in slavery there too. And then you see the two religions we're at war right now, and you understand certain things. Someone say the Shen in Taoist, in the Taoist, Taoist, whichever way you want to pronounce it, is what it's called. That is the good God, the eternal living God. It is pure spirit and life. Whether is it Taoism, Hinduism, Zoroastrianism, it doesn't matter which one. Whether you thinking that you're gonna move from samsara to nirvana or whatever, or with the Chinese saying chi, it's the same thing, bro. It's the same thing. It's a universal language. The language of consciousness is a universal language. The language of enlightenment is a universal language. You can use this power to become the prime minister, become the president, to become the mouthpiece for the UN. You could use this power for anything. You could use this power to take people's children and send them to war while you're in your air condition comfort and so. You can use the power for anything. That's what I'm saying. They don't want you to know the power of meditation over organized education, which is academic education. Okay, just read on these and come to close. Someone says, "I love, I love you no matter what you believe or do. I am in the understanding that we are all from the same source. No fear ever. My reward is the emotional energy. Don't matter if we black or white." Some people say it doesn't matter if you're black or white when it comes to consciousness and awareness. That is true. But you have to look and see the privilege and opportunities that was given to people based on skin color and secrets that had been passed down from lip to ear. You see, sometimes a person, they born and they grow up in America, they never come to the Caribbean and see the pattern in the Caribbean. Okay, they never see the kind of pattern to understand where I'm coming from. There's a pattern. That pattern, you can't come now and tell me, oh, it doesn't matter his color, his skin. Oh, it's only consciousness. Yeah, I know it's only fucking consciousness, but don't give me that kind of talk. Okay, I'm not gonna fall for that shit. No way. Okay, because if I travel with a passport to go to America, go any other place, I'll be cheated the same how you as a melanated person been cheated. I'm telling you, if right now me as a black man was to travel to go to certain African countries and a white man was to travel, the white man will be treated certain way different than me. He will be treated in a better way than me because they will believe the white man have money, but I don't have no money. So no one can come and tell me all this bullshit because certain things been planted in people's subconscious mind for so fucking long. It's hard to get it out. You come to the Caribbean islands and you see how they treat people, black people in the airport compared to white people. So don't give me that shit, man. Okay, I understand, yes, there's only consciousness. I understand race and all of these things, illusion too. I understand all of that. but I have to see things from both angle. Okay. I have to see things from the human experience angle, and I have to see things from a more enlightened, self-aware angle. And sometimes you, the person, are the people that be using these terms and saying these things, they're not enlightened, they're not even self-aware. They're just intellectual and they're full of information, and they use that damn information and that narrative. They make if you talk about race and you talk about your skin complexion and all of that, they make you feel bad about it. You think that you're a victim if you say these things. No, 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 you're not a victim. It's a pattern you see, and the pattern continue. And anybody will come and say you see systematic slavery, especially if you grow up in the Caribbean. So you sound good. Them things they just sound good. You just sound good, but it's not the reality. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Someone say yes, I'm a God loving man. Okay. That's when you love yourself. Okay. You can't force the experience. No, you can't force the experience. Okay, most people trying to force the experience because of the information. So, my brother and my sister, I really, really, really want to thank you all very much. I want to thank you all for your comment. I want to encourage you to subscribe and to like, to comment, continue to do these things. And my other videos you see on the live, here and there, I might get some views on the live. When it come to my videos I normally upload, look, if you go on my videos, you see some of my videos have less than 50 views. And it is not because I'm not providing good content. You understand? It is because they are against me not joining their cabal and be willing to sell myself short for money. Okay, it is because the shadow ban me and I'm going to keep saying it, and I want people to continue and comment and talk about it. Okay, that they need to free up my channel. Okay, and give me what belongs to me because they're using my intellectual property. Okay? Someone say, accept you, my brother, only the brainwash will treat you differently because of the skin. Hopefully, they will understand soon. I hope so too, okay? Because people are brainwashed on all sides. Okay? All sides, people are brainwashed. So I understand that. Okay? But I would always be aware of my skin color. Don't make nobody fool you. I'm not gonna be no hypocrite. Okay, I'm not gonna be no hypocrite. That's why I cannot see myself dating outside of my race because I will have too much question to ask. That's the problem. It be a problem. You understand? That's why I can't date outside my race. I ask a lot of questions, and I would talk a lot and those kind of subjects. So the relationship wouldn't work because for a black man to be in an interracial relationship with a white, he have to compromise. He can't laugh as hard as he wants. He can't speak as loud as he wants when he's around his people because they will tell him he's not in a backyard barbecue in the hood. You understand what I'm saying? We have different nature, you know what I mean, and so on. There's so much a different thing. So my brother, my sister, yes, check out my other videos and so on, and you see the little bit of views that they're getting. Okay, and it's not because, as I said before, it's not because my content ain't good. Okay, because they want to censor me, and they want to feel like they're punishing me, and they're making me feeling so good. Okay, they're making me feel so good because I know how something. I know how something. So when they get all them other man views and so on and all that, I know they are nothing, but I have something. So my brother, my sister, I really want to thank you all very much, and I'd encourage you to go over my Black Mad Group channel and catch me on the other live there. I'm gonna go over there right now when I leave you. So with that, I say, my brother, my sister, I just want to say peace, love you all. Out.